Hey guys, it's Cal. Welcome back to another episode of The Worst of Wattpad. Today we're going to be talking about Adopted by Logan Paul by Misfortune1211. One of many Adopted by Logan Paul stories. If you just search this up on Wattpad, there's literally hundreds of results. It's a little concerning just how many they are. Now I picked this particular one because it stood out. It had a little bit of twist. It's like if Maximum Ride were a Wattpad book, but then also the characters had more like X-Men powers, and at the same time Logan Paul was there. That's what we're in for today, kids. So let's get right into it here. Our main characters are Luke and Lillian, and it starts out with them escaping from these scientists who have like held them prisoners since they were 2 years old because they're doing all these tests on their powers. So we get like an action scene where they're running out. And then we get to hear about what powers they have exactly. And Luke is saying that Lillian has the powers of super speed, mind manipulation, fire manipulation, telekinesis, and she can also shoot electric beams out of her hands. And Luke says that his powers are pretty much the same as hers, except I have super strength instead of speed, and I can manipulate water. They don't know how they got these abilities. They were just born with them, but they have them now. We go on to the next two chapters where I'm trying to like get on a plane. They're flying off to LA to escape from the scientists. They get on the plane over here in chapter 3. And one thing I want to address here is the tone shifts in this story because they're jarring. We'll have 1 minute it's like some intense battle scene or emotional scene, and then the next second it's just like they're just kind of chilling. Like it's just like them messing around with like Logan Paul, or like it's really weird. Like let me give you one quick example here where Luke and Lillian are on the plane, and Lillian's really upset. She's just been through, this traumatic event that just happened where they were trying to escape from the lab. And Luke says, "I promise we'll be okay, Lil," he says as I cry into his shoulder. "Nothing will happen to us. I'll make sure of that." And then we have not even a page later, Luke is saying they're in LA and he's saying, "Let's just walk around." And Lillian says, "Fine by me, let's go shopping," she squeals, while dragging me over to the car rental places. Now they're only 13, they can't drive, but she's going to get a taxi, I guess, from the car rental place. Anyway. So now Luke and Lillian they're going shopping, and they try to go shopping, but we find out that the money that Luke had stolen, which they used to purchase the airline tickets, he's now lost. I'm not sure how he lost it. He just lost it. It was like $6,000, and he just lost it. Lillian's a little upset because now they have no money for food or a place to stay, and also she can't go shopping now. But then she gets the idea that it's okay. She's just gonna steal some clothes. She already has a t-shirt she really wants. So she tries to steal it, and they have an altercation with security. We get, this line right here where, so Lillian is being dragged away, and Luke is yelling at the security guard to, like, get off of her, and the security guard says, "Out of my way, boy, she's coming with us whether you like it or not." And then Luke punches him. So they're having like an all-out fight now. And they start dragging Lillian away again. They got him. They took him to an office. Lillian says, "We gave up halfway there, accepting our fate." God, this is so annoying. Like, it's just a freaking t-shirt. It's not like I'm stealing the Krabby Patty formula or something. They talk to the security guards who say that they're going to call their parents, and then Luke says they don't have any parents. He says, "We live on the streets." Oh, God. And then the security guard takes them to an orphanage. where they have to fill out some paperwork, which my favorite part of this paperwork is, so they've got their name, their age, their birthdays, their allergies, and then there's a section that says additional information, and part of Lillian says, likes lavender, blue, and green, enjoys drawing, dancing, singing, and being with brother, can solve a Rubik's Cube, which I'm sure was very important to the orphanage's paperwork. So Luke and Lillian get settled down in the orphanage, and we skip to 3 months later, where we find out this orphanage, as Luke says, is legit a living hell. Lillian's been getting beat up by some bullies. They get barely fed, and the administrators hate them, so they're not having a great time. It's slightly better than the lab, but it's still not great. They just want to go back and have a normal life and be... So, see, Luke and Lillian actually do have parents. They just don't know where they are because they were kidnapped when they were, like, 2. So they just want to go back and, like, be with their parents and live a normal life. But they're stuck in this orphanage. But today, guys, is adoption day. Oh, it's adoption day. So they go down, they're supposed to go down to, like, interview with people who potentially want to adopt children. And at this point, a tall blonde man comes up to them. It's Logan Paul! He asks them some questions, he wants to know about them, and this is, by the way, the second time we get all this information, because they also wrote all this down on their adoption papers, where he says, let's start with, how old are you guys? 13. Favorite colors? Red and blue. I say lavender and blue, Lillian says, which we're really getting their favorite colors hammered into us in this story. I'm not sure why it's such an important plot point. We get their birthdays, and then Logan Paul says, last question, can I adopt you guys? Logan says with a nervous smile. We stay silent for a moment, and then Lillian immediately hugs him. So they're getting adopted by Logan now, who decided to adopt these children very quickly. He asked them, I think, 3, maybe 4 questions, which they answered very shortly and was like, these are the kids for me, I'm taking them home. Luke pulls Lillian aside and tells her, don't forget, we have to be careful with our powers around him now, because they don't want anyone to see their powers, because I guess they're afraid they're going to get, like, tested on like the scientists did before. And they go out... They pack up their stuff, and then we got, well, you guys are Luke and Lillian Paul now, he says with a goofy smile. That's Logan Paul. We return the smile and follow him out to his Yeti. Wow, Lillian says as she looks up at it. It's huge, like 3 times the size of her. You're so short, I say, resting my arm on her head. Okay. Logan Paul says, quick question, do you guys have phones? We have only one phone that we share, I say bluntly. To the Apple Store! He screams randomly and starts driving. Okay. I think that actually is what it's like to live with Logan Paul, you guys. We go on to the next part. So they go shopping again, for real this time, because Logan Paul is rich and buys them lots of stuff, and then they go back to his mansion. They settle into their new room, and then Logan wants to take them to meet the Why Don't We Boys, which I actually had to look up who that was. It looks like it's a boy band who's been in a lot of Logan Paul's videos. He wants to take them to meet them, and also Jake Paul and Team 10. So first they go over to the Why Don't We Boys house, and we get this. We pull up to this really nice house. We get out of the car, and Logan just walks straight into the house like he owns the place. Me and Lil look at each other before hearing someone, Logan, yelling, "That's my boys!" We walk into the house and see 5 guys all crowding around Logan. Boys, I want you to meet Luke and Lillian. They're the kids I adopted, he says, motion to us. We get to meet all the Why Don't We boys. And then they have some conversation with the Why Don't We boys where we get to, again, hear the twins' age, birthday, and favorite colors. Which is good. We really need to know. We really need to remember that, guys. They're 13, they're born on December 11th, and their favorite colors are red and blue and lavender and blue. Don't forget, you guys. After that, we go over to Jake Paul's house. Logan walks up to the door and once again just walks straight in. Does he always just walk straight into people's houses? I ask no one in particular. All the guys say yeah in unison. That's creepy, Lillian says, which isn't wrong. Brother Jakey! Logan yells to a blonde guy who I'm assuming is Jake. Hey Logan, he says back, so I heard you adopt some kids. Let me see them! Okay, but no filming them yet. I haven't told them about the whole YouTube thing yet, Logan whispers back. Which, I thought that was weird at first that, like, these 13-year-olds wouldn't know who Jake and Logan Paul are, but I guess it makes sense because they have been in prison since they were 2 years old, so, fair enough. And after that, they go back to Logan Paul's house, and we skip on to the next day, and I just want to read a little bit of this banter for you because it makes me die on the inside every time I read it. This is from Lillian's point of view. And it says, "Good morning," I say to Logan. "You know it's noon, right?" he says, laughing. "Yes, it's so early," I whine. "She usually doesn't wake up till like 3, Luke says, coming out of the kitchen. "Lucas, how's life, my friend?" I yell, knowing he hates being called by his real name. "Great, if I do say so myself, Lillian," he yells back. I glare at him. "Aw, sibling love," Logan laughs, ruffling my hair. "So what shall we be doing at this time of the day?" I say in a British accent. And then we learn that they're gonna meet the rest of the people who live at Logan Paul's house. We're gonna meet the rest of them. And Logan Paul at this time explains that he's a YouTuber, but he says, "Do you guys know what YouTube is?" I was willing to suspend my disbelief that they wouldn't know who Logan and Jake Paul are, but why would he think they don't know what YouTube is? These 13-year-old children have never heard of YouTube. He explains that they're YouTubers and they're chill with that. And then after this conversation, Logan Paul takes them out to get breakfast, but their waiter is one of the scientists who was imprisoning them. He's coming back to capture them. And he's weirdly cryptic about it, though. He doesn't just straight up grab them. When their food comes, there's a note on the side that says, "I know what you two can do." And then after that, Lillian gets up to go to the bathroom, and the waiter comes over and is like, "Oh, I'm that scientist! I'm gonna take you back to the lab!" And then they get into a fight. Lillian gets really beat up, but she kicks him in the balls and escapes. So it's alright. And when she goes back to the table, she has a little conversation with her brother about what just happened. Logan Paul doesn't notice that that she's been attacked, even though her lip is bleeding, her eye is swollen, and her chin and cheek are bruising already. Only her brother notices, because she's trying to keep it hidden from Logan. They don't want him to know about their past or their powers yet, because they're not sure if they can trust him. Now, they leave from the restaurant, go back to Logan Paul's house, and very quickly decide that actually they're just gonna tell him. They're just gonna tell him because they don't think there's any way they can hide Lillian's entire face from him. So, they go over, and Logan Paul sees her face, and he freaks out, and he's like, "Oh my god, what happened?" And he's gonna kill the waiter. He's freaking out. And then Luke tells him, "We're not normal. We have powers that people think are dangerous, and we had to be kept in a lab since we were 2. When we tried to escape, Jacob, the waiter, found us and took us back to the lab." And then Logan says, "What kind of powers do you have?" And Luke explains them, and Logan just says, "Can you show me?" So he's pretty chill with this. His adopted children just have powers, and he's accepted it. And then really the whole next chapter is just them showing Logan Paul what they can do with their powers. They meet some more of Logan's YouTube buddies, who live in this house, I guess. Does Logan Paul also have like a Team 10 type house? I guess he does. And they wake up, okay. The next morning they wake up to Logan Paul yelling, "Good morning, Logan, what's poppin'?" Which I imagine is how everyone in that house wakes up every day. I think that happens in real life. So Logan's going around vlogging. Luke says, "Never thought I would ever watch a grown man talking to his camera. You don't know this vlog life, dude," Logan yells. "We don't know that vlog life, Logan," we say. And now Luke and Lillian and Logan are trying to figure out what to do, so they decide they're going to go and prank Jake Paul as part of the vlog. So Luke and Lillian go to, distract Jake, while Logan goes into his room and puts up stickers of his face over everything. That's the prank. And then he runs off, and Jake Paul sees what this prank was, and Jake is pissed. He does not think this is funny, and only Luke and Lillian are here at this point, and Jake grabs their arms and pulls them back, and his eyes turn dark red. And then Jake Paul does this thing where he squeezes their arms and they it hurts and they turn dark red. So I guess Jake Paul also has powers and is evil in this fic. They rush out and then they call Logan, who comes to pick them up, and they have to go to the hospital. And really, Lillian's more severely injured, I guess, than Luke. Has to be in the hospital for a while. Luke's pretty much fine. And she's only there for a day, and then Logan takes them back to his house. And the next day we just get another scene where they just go shopping with the Why Don't We boys, and everything's fine. As I said, the tone shifts are throwing me a little bit. They just have a nice time shopping at the mall. And then after that, we go over, Logan and the Why Don't We boys are gonna, record this music video, and this is when we get to meet David, who is the Why Don't We boys manager, I think. And he's just being a dick to the twins, and he just seems to really hate them for some reason. He keeps yelling at them for, distracting the boys while they're trying to make their music video. And then I also think David is some kind of, supernatural himself as well, because we get this scene where David's, in one place, and then he's, in another place, basically at the same time. And he starts, the twins come in, and they're apparently being distracted again, and he starts yelling at them, and we've got Logan Paul going, "Yo, yo, yo, don't talk to my damn kids like that!" So that's fun. And then they've sent David away, they're done making this music video for now. David needs to get a hold of himself. And then we get this little bit of a scene where Logan's yelling at someone on the phone, something about "I don't care if I only had them for a day, I love them like my own," and the twins overhear it, and they want to know what's going on, but he doesn't want to tell them. They get into kind of a fight about that. So then Luke and Lillian want to get out of the house because they're just having a bad day. Well, David and Logan get mad and everything. And so they go off penny boarding, and they meet some new friends. They hang out with their friends at Starbucks for a while, and then they finally decide to go back to Logan Paul's house, and Logan didn't know where they were, so he's kind of mad, because, "Lillian, Luke, is that you guys?" Logan yells, sounding worried. "Yeah," Lillian yells back. Logan comes running up to the door. "Where the hell have you guys been?" he yells, hugging us. "We went to Starbucks, calm down," Lillian says, pulling away. "You didn't think to tell me before you guys left?" he says, sounding mad. "Nope," I say, walking up the stairs. Lillian behind me. I hear Logan sigh. "By the way, we're going to the Team 10 house tomorrow," he tells us. So I guess he's okay now. He's not mad anymore. And Luke and Lillian are like, that's a bad idea, because Jake Paul just attacked us. And he's like, "Nope, we're going." So, okay, Logan. Now we get a little bit of Logan's point of view I think this is the first time, to explain his motivations for taking them back to the Team 10 house. He wants to catch Jake actually trying to, use his powers to attack them so he can know if Jake is really a supernatural. That's what his plan is right now. Which seems a little dangerous, a little sketchy. But that's fine. We're going back to the Team 10 house, boys. Also, Logan never tells them about this plan, so they're both really worried and like, what's going on? Why is he taking us here when we almost got killed? He never explains it. I think he should have said something. They're really concerned. Now, Logan takes Jake aside and talks to him about. So apparently, Jake didn't really like know what he was doing when he attacked the twins. Like something supernatural came over him. But Logan explains to Jake about the twins' powers and that he thinks that Jake also has powers, which is news to Jake. He didn't even know. Oh, and now Luke's bringing up some new information because apparently, okay, him and Lillian are supernatural because they were born that way, but the doctors at their lab it says they found a way to give normal people supernatural powers. It's kind of like a drug and can be like put into food and drinks and stuff and people won't notice. If people are do it at their will, they can get a special type of shot. The will give them supernatural powers. So, I guess maybe someone is drugging Jake into being supernatural, um, or he wants to be supernatural and he's not telling them. I'm not sure yet. Then, since we find out Jake probably isn't evil, he couldn't control his powers. So Luke and Lillian do some tests to like find out what his powers are, and he can like teleport. I guess we get that in this next one. So then Luke and Lillian go back to Logan Paul's house and they're just kind of chilling. They're playing on their phones when they get kidnapped again by a scientist who was disguised as a pizza man. And they end up back in the lab. Now we hop back on over to Logan Paul here. This is right after the twins have just been kidnapped, and it says, "Twins," I yell. "I was done editing about an hour ago, and I haven't heard from the twins since." I go upstairs to the room, and it's empty. I go outside, nothing. Kitchen, nothing. Living room, nothing. The merch room, nothing but that sexy merch. Ahem. LoganPaul.com/shop. Ahem. Which he plugs his merch even in just like the narration, which is honestly, that's the most on-brand thing I've ever heard. So, fair enough. And now the twins are captured for like 3 weeks. The scientists are running tests on them. They're being all kinds of terrible. It's pretty dark for a Logan Paul fanfic. Actually, if you guys want to read it for yourself and take a look at it, it's a little scary. Um, and now after these like 3 weeks, they do manage to escape again. And then we get a little more Logan Paul perspective before the twins actually get home, where his parents come over to him. His parents come over to see him, and they're like, Logan, they tell him, all we're trying to say is maybe the twins going missing is better for you and your career. You don't have to worry about them anymore. They thought it was a bad idea for Logan Paul to adopt children, which I also think it's a bad idea for Logan Paul to adopt children. I will not trust him with my children. I'm just saying. Anyways, after this, the twins do get back to LA. It says, "We finally made it back to LA. Don't ask us how. We just did." So okay, they're back in LA now. Now, for the rest of this story, it's mainly Luke and Lillian training in case, the scientists come back for them. We have this one scene where Lillian, like, attacks Luke, and they're like, whoa, why did that happen? And we hear about this another organization called the Gordon, I think, who can, like, I guess make people lose control and stuff like that. Like, they have, like, mind powers, so that's also going on as, like, another subplot. We have just some filler of the twins playing Fortnite with Logan Paul. And then they do get attacked again, but this time it's by the Gordon, not by the scientists, to kidnap them. It seems like just to torture them in graphic ways. That seems to be the only reason. They've been kidnapped and now they're being tortured. The kidnappers make them like call Logan Paul and say that they don't want to see him anymore, so they'll just be trapped and Logan Paul will come rescue them. And then that's actually the end of this book. There is a book 2 that I think actually came out recently, so I don't know, maybe we'll dive into that one at some point, but that's the end of this story, guys. I hope you enjoyed this Logan Paul fanfic, and I'll see you in the next episode.